Good day. I am the director at QAhateyou.com. Now, in order to improve the efficiency of your team and to suss out any problems with your website, you might be considering using an automated link checker of some sort to run those sorts of tests for you. Maybe you're going to spend a little money on a GUI developed by some Russian programmers. Maybe you're going to download a free open source thing off the internet. Regardless, before you sign off on your website based on the prognostications and diagnostics of an automated link checker, you need to understand their limitations. And that's what we're going to talk about today on the 2-Minute QAte. Alright, let's take a little bit of time to talk about what an automated link checker is and what it does. Now, an automated link checker is a simple piece of software. You point it at your website URL and it spiders the website. It crawls around picking up all the URLs and the links. Hopefully it's picking up all of the calls to JavaScript files, CSS files, and whatnot that are hanging around that aren't actually HTML or the equivalent pages. Hopefully it's also checking your images to make sure that all the image files that you link are there, including the spacers that you don't see. Then it prepares some sort of report for you, usually something simple along the lines of a green line saying, yes, I found it, or a red line saying, whoops, there's something missing here. Now, within those parameters, it's pretty simple to see if something's there or something's not. The red line obviously indicates something's wrong, but the green line might not mean that everything is right. There are certain clickable events that your automated link checker is probably not checking. There are some environmental considerations, aren't there always, that might return a false positive. And there are some things that your link checker probably isn't going to be able to check or find, and you need to account for that as well. Now, every clickable event that your users are going to encounter is not necessarily a link embedded within an HTML tag that starts out ahref equals open quotation mark. Some sites use JavaScript calls to build their URLs and spawn new windows and whatnot. Other times, there are clickable events that are not actually links. And, well, I tell you what, let me just show you a couple examples here. This is the Kohl's website. It's a great big e-commerce site, and I say that recognizing I'm the only one in the 21st century still using the term e-commerce. Like many websites of varying sizes, at the bottom you'll see that the footer links are launched through JavaScript calls instead of anchor tags. Those are things that you need to make sure that your link checker identifies and uses. Additionally, in the main portion of the page, we have a slideshow presentation where the user can click the different buttons to see the different pictures. These are not traditional web links of any sort. Your link checker's probably not going to check that, but you still need to make sure that that works. The So Davy website is one of those wonderful .NET nuke sites that still exist out there, no matter what a bad idea it seems to be. Now, it's got two things on here you got to watch out for when you're evaluating a link checker. First of all, again, it's a JavaScript call here on the register link to get to the register page. And as with .NET nuke things, it's inscrutable to my eyes, and hopefully it'll not be inscrutable to your web link checker. Secondly, down here in the corner, we've got a widget. Now, many websites involve widgets in the sidebars and whatnot, and you really got to evaluate how your link checker is going to deal with a widget, or a banner ad, or what have you. Now, this is the Guinness website. It's a site with which I'm sure we're all intimately familiar, and if not, I'd recommend it. Now, you'll notice that the main panel here is, that's an Adobe Flash presentation. A lot of websites use this a bunch, and is your link checker going to be able to navigate the links internal to Flash? Maybe not. Now you'll also notice that the web store is launched by a new window. JavaScript call, like so many others. Again, that's fairly common, and you got to make sure that whatever link checker you use does in fact recognize them. Web designers like to show and hide divs using a clickable event like this. This is something your link checker is probably not going to check, but that you need to make sure works correctly. Additionally, this web page uses internal anchor tags. Go to the top anchor. Your link checker is probably not going to look for that, and that's something else you need to make sure works. Aside from those examples and other considerations for, instead of Flash, for example, Silverlight and other embedded media that your link checker probably isn't going to be able to handle, there are other kinds of links that are HTML standard that your link checker might not handle correctly. For example, a mail to link, which spawns a client email window, new message, inserts an email address in there, and sometimes a subject line. Now your link checker is not going to check to make sure that that email address is correct or the subject line is correct. Also, when you're dealing with pages and pages of data from some sort of search, for example, the 1, 2, 3, 4 page number links, is your link checker going to handle those correctly? Who knows? Navigational links like angle brackets or next and previous links, is your link checker going to handle that? Who knows? But you tester, have to handle it regardless. Now, viewers, we're going to talk about the environment again. And I know you're thinking to yourself, geez, this guy likes the environment so much he should have been a Druid. Well, to be honest, I didn't roll up scores that qualified me for that class, so I had to be a software tester instead. Now, in the terms of the automated link checker and running it, when I talk about the environment, I'm talking about two things. One, I'm talking about the web hosting environment, including the web server software that you're running to dish up that website. Secondly, I'm talking about your client-side environment from which you're launching the automated link checker. For example, your web server environment can do a couple of things that will alter the outcome of your link checking. For example, a CMS software that dynamically creates URLs in the interest of optimizing for search engines or how search engines did it before they changed their algorithms. Well, each time that automated link checker comes across that same piece of content, that same web page, but with a different URL, it's quite probably going to think it's got a whole new web page here. In that case, it's going to go on forever and ever, probably. Now, another thing on the server side, if you have a custom error page that your web server is configured to dish up instead of a 404 error, well, that's not going to maybe be recognized by the link checker as a missed error page. It's going to say, okay, well, that link just goes to custom error.aspx. You can get around that by searching your automated link checker report to look for that custom error.aspx string, but you do have to account for that if it's not throwing a true 404. Now, from your client side, if you have intranet access or direct access to your staging environments or your testing environments, for example, if some designer, web producer, or developer, for example, hard-coded a URL to use an absolute URL leading to testing.mysite.com, that's not going to return a 404 error if you run a web link check from a computer that can access that environment. But outside of that testing environment, the customer, the user, is not going to be able to access that. He's going to get a nasty 404. So you have to account for those sorts of things as well. So, give some eye to your environment when you're planning on using an automated link checker, and think about what kind of flaws and traps you can fall into. Now, in addition to the things that we've talked about before, there are certain pages and places in your website that your link checker might not find. Now, some link checkers do allow you to enter credentials, a username and password for accessing a members-only protected area, but that's probably pretty primitive stuff. It's not going to, for example, fill in search forms for you, and it's not going to fill in data capture forms for you. Now, what this means is search results pages, links on there, particularly if you're embedding some sort of tracking information or additional information based on the search itself into that link on the search results page. You're not going to be able to check to see if those work correctly with an automated link checker. A thank you page, for example, thankyou.aspx, that is triggered when you fill out a data capture form or a tell a friend form or something like that. If that's an independent HTML or ASPX or PHP page, triggered when a form is successfully submitted to the web server, your link checker is not going to hit that page and check the links on it. If you have a custom error page like we talked about, customerror.aspx, hey, if the rest of your website checks out correctly and there's not a broken link that redirects to that custom error page, your link checker is not going to find it and test the links on it. So there are a bunch of things that you have to consider that might be hidden, and to look for those and to account for those. So you're saying, the director, are you telling me that automated link checkers are worthless? First, I'd like to thank you personally for using the article "the" in my title. I worked very hard for that. Secondly, no, automated link checkers are not worthless, but they are not the silver bullets that are going to put down the werewolf of doubt in your website. There are things they overlook. There are things that they miss. And if you're just downloading something, running it on your website, and happy with a report that says there are no links broken, you're probably missing part of the story. Look at what your application does. Look at what your website does. See where the problems are, see what's missing, and then run your tests with some intelligence. So I'm the director at QAhatesYou.com. Let's go out there and do it to them before they do it to us. Now, wait a minute. Stop the dissolve right there. I didn't want to insult your intelligence, but I've been in too many meetings where I've stated the blindingly obvious, and it's obvious that people were blind to it. Now, your link checker is not going to be able to determine if your links are linking to the right places. Say your About link is linking to the online store. Say your Tell a Friend button is bringing up the Enter the Contest form. Say that the company logo has been replaced by those pictures that the CFO was paying good money to keep hidden. Your link checker is agnostic to all that. Link checker don't care. Link checker just wants something to come back. So you have to somehow make sure that the links are, by and large, for the most part, as best you can in the 30 minutes you'll actually have to test the website, that's working out correctly. So keep that in mind too. Alright, I am the director at QAhatesYou.com. Take it difficult.